All right, everybody. Next on the call, we've got Casey Stathopoulos.
Yeah, good job.
Casey S is coming up next. She currently lives in Boston. She's new-ish to FFL, but now she has turned the corner. She's decided to go all in, and she's starting to break records with us. I'm going to let her take it away. How are you doing today, Casey?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. Happy to have you on today.
Me too. I thought I talked fast, but then you talked, so you took the cake.
We can have an auctioneer challenge later, but right now I'd love for them to hear about you and your background and a little bit about you and how you found your way to us.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you first and foremost, obviously, for having me on. I'm new here as of end of July, so this is really exciting for me. I'll start with a little bit of my background personally and other position prior, and then I'm just going to give you guys a couple tips and some strategies for when you're working virtually or in person. So hopefully it'll help some of you guys. I definitely would take a couple notes if you don't have anything out yet, because I do think it's going to help. So a little bit of background on me. I am from Massachusetts, a little bit outside of Boston, but I am living here now. It's really cold. It's like 30 degrees here, so I'm frozen, but it's all good. I was a insurance agent prior to being here. I started in 2018 working at another company. It was great. It was my first job at out of college, out of my master's program. So I was like, what can I do that gives me a little bit of flexibility and some time for myself? And I happened to stumble upon this job on Indeed that was like flexible hours, days off, yada, yada. So I was like, great. At the time, I don't obviously know you guys, but I was a professional athlete. I played professional ice hockey prior to COVID. I played hockey my whole life, played Division I. So finding that balance of a position where I could continue to play professionally, but also be making some money was something that I was really looking for. And when I stumbled on insurance, I didn't go to school for insurance. I don't think anybody does, but I went for clinical psychology. So it was a little bit of a 180 for me, but it ended up, or I thought it was going to end up working out great. So, I started in insurance again, 2018. I loved the company and everything. I loved the position, started to fall in love with the competitive nature of insurance that we're all used to. But after a couple of months, I kind of started to see that the job position and what I was told was not what I was doing. I was putting all my effort in 80 to 100-hour weeks. And this wasn't even including weekends. Including weekends. It was like Monday to Sunday, no time for myself. I couldn't travel. It was really hard to, play my hockey games on the weekend, traveling to Canada and then coming back and having to be in the office at 7 a.m. It was kind of crazy, but when you're in your first job and anybody who's come from a different insurance company, you're kind of like married to the position and the culture that you get used to. So for me, I loved my coworkers. They were like family to me. But for me, over the last couple of years, once you get more matured in business and you become higher in management, you realize, okay, it's not about your friends. It's kind of a red flag. It's about your business and your growth. So over the last, year during COVID, our company actually went 100% virtual. So I've been doing kind of telesales, if you will, for, the last year and a half. And for me, that kind of opened my eyes to, wow, like now I'm home doing all these hours, working literally all day and night, and it's nothing different. It's never going to change. So for me, that's kind of when I was like, all right, what's the next step? And, I had been following, ironically, Nina and Hayden, more so Hayden until, I started to get to know him, then followed Nina for a long time. I was a loyal insurance agent to my company. So when Hayden first followed me, I was like, don't do it, but it's okay. Love him for that. And it took me, like 6 to 8 months to really, start talking to him, because I was very much, in my company, very much looking at surface level success and not looking at the issues that were, getting covered by Band-Aids, but needed stitches in my other company, like just really bad. So I ended up talking to Hayden one day and he was like, you know what? No issues. I just want to give you our information. Do what you will with it. And I did. I looked and I researched, and it took me a long time to reach back out to him. I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks before I was like, hey, let's actually talk about this. And I'm so happy that I did. So if anyone on here is new and, was in an insurance or another type of company before, and, you were scared about jumping in, I totally see where you're coming from. I had literal anxiety even just talking to Hayden, because I was told for so long that this is the job that's going to be it for you. You know, you're the 1%. But when I just opened my eyes, I'm like, no, that's just not true. So again, I've only been here for a little bit. I
Real
would say,
quick,
yeah.
What did he send you? What did he share with you?
The FFL link.
Just the overview video
Yeah.
and some comp grids, or?
Yeah. All the good stuff.
Oh, the good. Okay. Well, we need to find out from Hayden what the good stuff is, because I feel like this is.
Well, I mean, I saw all of his posts and everything anyway. So
Got
it was like, what else you got? You know?
What else you got? Show me more.
Yeah. So he showed me all of it. It was great. And then I've met Nina, and then like that was it. So
okay.
Yes. So I've only been working here, I would say, so the end of July, mostly part-time, but now I've been more full-time for the last couple of weeks. Sorry, there's construction outside. You hear beeping. I apologize. So again, for me, you know, coming to Family First, I really didn't know what work-life balance was. And I think it's important, especially now in being in COVID, to know that it's important to work and, you know, grind when you need to, but I think it's essential to keep your mental health in mind, especially when you're not working. So prior to this position, I was so used to, you know, not really being present in my off time, because I was always like, oh my God, like what else should I be doing? It's Sunday, I should be hanging out, but like, do I need to make calls? And, you know, that's okay if it works for you, but when you don't have any balance, it's not good all around. And, you know, I found the balance here, and I'm still continuing to find it. So I'm very happy to be here. But focusing in now on kind of work and specifically calls and the things that I do, I specifically run all my calls and sits virtually. I'm transitioning now that I'm full-time into more of a balance of let's be in person. Again, I did in person prior to being in COVID with my other job. So I've been in homes and I've been in sits, and I know how that works. For me, it's just, I'm so used to virtual that I'm making that transition slowly. I've been running live transfers, EverQuote specifically, and all web leads literally every single week for the last 4 weeks. A key thing, I mean, I'm sure everybody knows since everyone's been signing up, but something that I would do is get as many states as you can. I started with, I would say 8 states like 4 weeks ago, and now I'm almost at 20. Not only for volume of calls that you're going to get, but because everybody here is now learning about EverQuote. It's just there's a ton of people that have way more states, and obviously for their business, you know, the more states you have, like the more leads you're going to give people that are kind of getting the ball rolling. So I would say get as many states as you can. When it comes to the actual call leads, just a little tip. I know when you have the calls on for 24 hours, they stop at 12 a.m. And I learned the hard way when I got a phone call at like 1:30. I was like, great, I'm literally in bed, just stopped Netflix. Can you not call me at 1:30? But that was my mistake. So I would say just be cautious of what times you're calling. I mean, my schedule differs every single day. So the convenience of the EverQuote is amazing. Just turn it on when you want. If you have 3 hours in between some in-home appointments, just toss it on. That's what I do, and it's been great so far. For actual leads, I use Game Time leads, Happy Agent, and CRM. It's kind of like a mix. Recently, from talking with managers and just kind of figure out other ways of, you know, making income from CRM, I've been buying the 1 to 3 month final expense, instance, and mortgage, like age mortgage leads. So those can range anywhere from obviously like $2 to $11 to like $30. Typically for me, I'll spend anywhere from $500 to $1,200 weekly. And that's because I collect referrals. So I'll get into that in 1 second. If it's a really good week for me, then I'll spend anywhere from like $1,500 to $2,200 on leads. And again, I know there's a ton of people here that buy like $3,000 to $7,000 of leads, and that's awesome. I'm used to running referrals as well. So I kind of mix that into what I'm doing now, and it's been working for me. So I've always been a huge proponent of referrals. I know a lot of people don't focus on those here, which is fine. But when you're serving families and have great rapport and relationships, there are so many missed opportunities when you don't ask for these referrals. And I have just learned over the years to capitalize on those. And again, they're all virtual. Came from a virtual world. It's just been easier to see clients via Zoom, and then also see, or phone calls, and then see their mom or their brother or their sister the same kind of way. Again, I'm in Boston. A lot of my referrals and my leads end up being in like the Suffolk County area, so I can go down the street and see them. Really depends honestly on where you are and where you buy your leads. Specifically,
we teach us how you get them, like
how I get what
referrals.
I'm about to.
I'm going to stop talking until you tell me to. Okay.
Okay. That's okay. I'm about to. I like that you're listening though. Okay. So I'm going to go into now some of my tips, some of the script on how to get them, etc. So definitely starting with the tips when it comes to sales and confidence. I obviously was asked to share which ones work for me. And so I hope some of these can help for you. And just preemptively before I get into it, I really think that it's really great that family first, it's not just about the company, focusing on one person thriving from their own personal strengths and getting posted on social media and blah, blah, blah. It's always about multiple people taking the time to learn a process and sharing their own success so others here can have the same. I just think it's amazing. And I give my hats off to you guys. And I'm really glad that I'm a part of that culture because it is about everybody, being successful in the end. So first off, referrals. When it comes to referrals, I over ask. I call it politely aggressive. I'm not trying to be too forward, obviously, where it comes off as harassment, but I am going to make sure I keep in mind that time is money. And, an hour for me, I want to think about it as $1 million. I'm not going to waste it. So for me, I'm collecting insurance referrals, specifically anybody who needs final expense, etc. What I do is I will text and call them once I collect them, like minimally 2 or 3 times a day. You got to think about it. You sat with a family, you made their rapport in person or on Zoom or on a phone call. You created a bond and rapport that should be super fun and energetic, in my opinion. We should be the ones bringing the energy to every appointment. And at the end of a sit, you should think of these people that you're serving, not just as clients, but I would say as friends. And if you're making these clients and friends, then why not ask them if they have anybody else who needs insurance, like family or anything like that, coworkers. So I do have a script type that I use. I can send this to you guys if you want. Very short, very to the point. But I've used this for the last 3 years. It's worked for me. So definitely take it and run with it. And it goes something like this. So let's say I sat with a Mark, for example. So I'll be like, so Mark, I know we were able to protect you and your family today, which is amazing. My goal is to educate and protect as many families as possible due to not only the pandemic over the last year, but specifically because there's a lack of knowledge about final expenses. So who do you know who could benefit from these products? Now, most people will immediately, start thinking about a family member and they don't really have a sense of direction. So for me, I always learned that whoever is in control wins. So for me, I'll always be like, most people start with mom, dad, or, brothers or sisters or anything like that. Be smart about that. If you're sitting with someone who's, let's say, a nurse or someone who's in the union, definitely be like any coworkers, like you can think of any of your really good friends, just kind of tailor it to whoever you're sitting with or, you're speaking to, obviously. And then other than that, what's the worst thing that could happen? They could say no. Then it's like, okay, I'm going to go to my next appointment. The second thing that I do is I overeducate on the products and myself. I think an important thing to do is validate your role as a tenured representative by educating them on the products they already have, the products they're going to have, obviously from you, the benefits of those products, and also just the process of qualifying. It just gives you a sense of, you know what you're doing. People will be comfortable with you and they're going to trust you more so than someone who's coming off very salesy, like in and out 10 minutes. The third thing I do is I over solidify each sale. So this is for my sake and my clients. Quality of business is huge. Obviously, everybody gets chargebacks here and there. It is what it is. But when you're working with people, especially clients that you're talking to on the phone, they don't see you. It's just imperative to show good intentions from the beginning to the end of an appointment. I feel like when you're, building positive relationships and you have that good rapport on the phone, making people laugh and making sure they're having a good time is super important. Like, don't be afraid to be yourself. Don't just think because you're an insurance agent talking to someone on the phone, you have to be very tough and hard and business wise. Like, make sure you are being yourself. People like when you're genuine. And I think this, doesn't just build positive relationships, but it shows positive control in all aspects of, being an insurance broker, but also your personal character. And that, goes right into getting more referrals of the families and friends. And then the last thing I do, and this is outside of work, but I think it's really important and I don't see a lot of people talking about it. Maybe you guys do. I don't know. I'm new. But the last thing I do is I read. And I know it sounds kind of cliche and I don't love to read. So just hear me out. leadership books, sales books, these things that they do really keep you on top of your game business wise. And in the last couple of years, working with different, high level managers, stuff like that, I've just learned so many small ways to keep myself organized, or just even solely focused on tasks I thought that I was focusing on, due to just like reading about time management from top level executives. I've learned that growing sales teams and growing team numbers, calls for consistency in your self-education, a focused desire to win, and putting your people first. So continually educating yourself from the best sales women and men is definitely a key factor in building all around succession. I always heard, and I have been taught, not even just from my family, but from obviously working in sales, that, leaders are readers. So my advice would be to invest in a couple sales, even just management or leadership books. I have a ton of recommendations if you guys want those, and I'm sure, you guys have some too. So I think that's important. And
what are yours? I didn't mean to talk, but I just really wanted to know what yours would.
I have a laundry list.
Well, give me your top three.
A couple of them. I had one right here because you know what? I knew you guys were going to do this. The Power of Consistency. Okay. It's really good. It's by Weldon Long. And I actually found this from a really high producer at another company, but like very genuine person and somebody that I got to know really well. And it is an amazing book on how you do a lot of things at once and you think you're, working really hard and being really busy. But when you read the book, you're like, wow, I'm actually doing everything wrong. I need to focus my time on this, this, and this. It's great. Wonderful. But I can give you more. And then at the end of the day, my last little just piece was, we serve and protect, and then we get paid. That's, kind of what we do. So if you keep that in front of you, there's no possible way you can go wrong or still steer yourself wrong. And to any new agents, the advice I would give is to just dive in. I worked in insurance before. I've been at that point where you're like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. You just have to dive in, reach out to your managers, and don't be afraid to reach out to just other people. I've just found it's, anything that we're doing here is meant so we're all successful. So it's not just a one person show. Like I said, I've talked to so many people in the company, not just Hayden and Nina. I've always been taught, reach out to more than just your circle. So I've been reaching out to people, all over the place that aren't even on my team, just because why not? You're going to get advice from other people. You're going to learn a lot of things about other people's intentions and, how they run business. And it's going to help you either way in the end. So feel free to reach out and don't be, scared to hit people up on social media. Like that's what it's all about. And then I think that's all I got. I hope that helped.
That was very helpful.
Okay,
well, thank you very much for all
Anytime.
of that. Now my turn. Okay. So so I'd love to hear about what your goals are here, because you sound like a very specific, like I must have X amount of conversations a week. I know that should yield this many potential new agents. And thus in 30 days, I should have this many new, I'd love you to just give us some specifics about what you're trying to accomplish here, because you sound very intentional. And I want to look back at this in 12 months and watch how far past you blew from the goals you stated today.
Me too. I am getting way more intentional about my goals. I definitely have to admit, when I was a little bit more part-time, I wasn't focusing on recruiting as much as I am now, which I, in not my defense, no excuse. I was just trying to figure out the business and kind of get settled for myself prior. But now that I've been talking to Hayden and Nina more often, I think, goals definitely for the next 30 days, logo. We have a lot of people coming in, and I have a lot of, from social media, just recruiting people coming in from, an older company and not, that have just, found the business through some stuff that I post and some of my friends post. And they're like, oh my God, like I need an opportunity like that. So definitely to hit logo this month. I personally have always wanted to, do 50K a month. I know it sounds a little small here, but I haven't gone full time until now. So my goal is, let's start doing 50K or 32 50K months, and that's it. I mean, I'm going to be honest, I'm a natural producer, so I just kind of have to put my head to the grindstone. And then other than that, it's just, I don't know, going up from there, I guess. I'm trying to start small so I don't get myself crazy, but obviously have big goals. Everybody wants integrity. So just got to get there as fast as I can.
So I'll help you real quick. I like the logo. The logo in November is great.
Yeah.
VP in December. Mm-hmm. And then 300 coming out of convention.
Hold on. Okay, last one.
VP.
300?
So 300 coming, 300 in February. Mm-hmm. That would be your goal. That'd be my goal for you. So, and I'll give you VP in December or January. Because December can be toughish. Sometimes people say it is. I always had my biggest ones ever in December. So the people that say that are the ones that just choose to not work.
Right.
But if you go logo in November, VP in either, which is 150, and then you start to get the free $30,000 a year, free $30,000 a year. Right. And then that would be December, January, and then February. So our agency in last January did 450,000. And then coming out of convention in March, we did 1.2 million. That's the impact of an event. That's why people are, I think Jamie Cheerio has almost 120 people coming to the launch event in next week, right? That's how people plot and scheme to get agents at these powerful events. So for you, plot, and everyone else listening who's got goals as well, and Juan who wants to keep his hair, is set a goal to get people to events, and then set people to goal to get people to next events, and let that kind of help people move. And guess what? They're free, right? That's not bad, not bad as well. So that would be my goals. That's what I think that would be easily attainable for someone of your determination and skill set.
Love it.
And then you look in summer, 500,000, $1 million by fall, $1 million plus by next December. And it's just simply a compound effect of you leading by example with production, teaching others how to lead by example with production, and then turning around teaching your skills to other new people. And that's the magic of what FFL is. High comp, 2 million leads in the CRM and more to come. And Casey, you're powerhouse, and you know it, which is even better, So I look forward to cheering you on, and everyone else drop a CS in the comments below to show Casey Stathopoulos. Did I do it right?
Yeah, you did.
All right. Because mine's like Polcyn. So they go like Polcyn or Polcyn or Polcyn. I'm like, okay, I know. I got it. So, but I appreciate you. I'm excited for you. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing. This is going to be a fun video to look back in 12 months and see how far you've grown. So have a great day. Thank you.
Yeah, you too.
Bye for now.